divine healing and natural health. And I've often thought about why are we so interested in this? But I know that I mean, certainly there are prophecies, right, about how the viruses are coming. There's a specific prophecy that I heard recently that they will engineer a virus that's going to attach to the fat loss drugs that people are taking. And since coming to America, one of the things that I noticed when I moved here, I guess I noticed two things. Number one, I've never seen so many pharmaceutical ads in my life. And the ads just get more brutal. I mean, now it's like a person injects themselves. The second thing that I notice is I have gained weight coming here. I have gained weight, and I don't know what it is. I don't know, is it all the seed oil? Is it all the sugars? Is it all the processed food? What is going on? In fact, I suspect that it goes all the way up the food chain, and it's not even the ingredients that people are cooking and putting in. I think at the very source, they've injected so many hormones into the poultry, into the beef, I mean, it's been decades that way. Somehow it's now trickling down to everybody, even when you're trying to keep healthy. So I just want to introduce my guest. Pastor Rod Gilchrist is a dear friend of mine for 22 years, and he's very well known in Australia. He's pastor of the Dream Center in Queensland. That's not to be confused with the Dream Center here in America, but a significant ministry. And I'm going to tell a story of how I met him, but I'd like you just to say hello to our Discover Church family.
Well, thank you, Pastor Steve. It's an honor to be with you. And yes, you're right. It's Dream Center. In Australia, we spell it CENTRE, the Australian way, not ER as you do in America. Yeah, I'm a veteran pastor of 35 years, planted the church June the 11th, 1989. It's a thriving church. And also my background is in science, pharmaceuticals. But to cut to the chase of what you just said, look, if you're like most people, Pastor Steve, we get confused. We get confused with the diets, the information that we're given, and of course, what the media tells us. And, like you talked about those TV ads, and, you watch an Ozempic ad, and, the first half of the ad is talking about, yay, it's a great product. And then the last half of the ad is all the things that could potentially happen to you that are bad. So I think we do have to get down to the root cause. And I firmly believe that we're fearfully and wonderfully made by the Lord. And I believe that God has given us everything we need for wellness and health in nature. And if we can hear from God, and if we can get a handle on that, and all I can say is for those of you that are deciding whether to continue to watch this YouTube video or not, is I'm going to share some things with you during this short time that we have, that if you will listen, then this can change your life from point of biblical perspective. I just truly believe that in the book of James, it says, if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who will give liberally and upbraideth not. And I just think when it comes to our health and our well-being, then we can ask God for wisdom, show us what we need to do. And then God will show us what we need to do. And if we apply that wisdom, then we'll get the results that we would never have otherwise gotten if we hadn't have followed and been obedient to the voice of the Lord. So we're going to talk about that.
So, we as pastors have to deal with people's eternity, health, finances, marriage. I mean, these are the four things staple all the time. And often they're intertwined. Once you got health problems or financial problems, it leads to marriage problems. Marriage problems lead to health problems. It's a vicious cycle. So I have Pastor Rod here because he's very important to my life. He's very important to Australia. He's built this amazing church that started with 7 people, and now it's thousands of people meeting, worshiping in a facility of $38 million. He's got all the solar panels and everything. It's like ready for tribulation. So
Yep.
we love the Bible, but we also love helping people get well. And funny enough, I was just praying about that. I said, Lord, I'd like to lose not just weight. I want to burn off some of the disgusting fat, the unhealthy fat, right, in around the organs. And again, you have a knack for contacting me. It was about a week later again, and you said, I found another breakthrough. And I believe that I trust you, and I trust the results that we saw over 22 years on many, many autoimmune conditions. We saw it. I saw it with my own eyes, and many people saw it. So now, what has the Lord sent you that we should know about?
All righty. Well, before I go into too much depth on this, I just want you to know I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. Um, I'm just a guy that loves science and loves to study and read things. And so we're going to put a little disclaimer up on the screen. I'm just going to share from my heart my truth, and I'll talk a little of the science. It's not intended to treat or cure or mitigate disease. It's not there to replace your doctor or your medications. And you should always consult your doctor and medical professional if you decide to make any changes. I think you and I have both been around long enough to know that, when God made us, He created us so that we could not just have life, but we could have life more abundantly. And we live in a toxic world. The science is irrefutable, and I can send links to anyone that needs it. We have some of the smartest people in the world that are now onboarding with this because they get it. They get it. But I'll sort of saved the best to last, Pastor Steve, on this. And so the first thing is reduction in appetite. Number two is triggering the burning of the visceral fat. That's the other molecule. But the gamma molecule, which is the third molecule that is in this MHE3 extract, what it does is, as you talked about that vagus nerve and its relationship in the parasympathetic nervous system, all the organs and functions of those organs that it touches, we see a complete plethora of things. But I just wanted to say off the cuff, you don't want to lose weight. And I love what you said before, that you were looking for a solution that was not weight loss. So here's the thing about diets. And if your listening audience are like me, you've had it up to here with diets. They tell you to take this, then they tell you not to take this. They say you should stop this, you should start that, you should cut out sugars, should cut out fats, you should have more fats, and you get confused. And I'm sure that everybody who's hearing this can identify with, chasing the latest fad is not the answer. What we search for is truth, and God has given us everything we need in nature. And so when I learned about this product called pHix and the mature hop extract, the science of it, this is what captivated my heart, Steve. So I'm going to give you a very brief example of this. When you go on a diet, your body will indiscriminately burn calories. But when you lose weight not just from fat, you lose weight from muscle mass. And there's different types of fat. There's white fat, visceral fat, brown fat. There's different types of fat. Weight loss is not necessarily good. What we want is fat loss. So this product contains an extract from the hop plant. Many of you are probably familiar with the hop plant. It's used in beer. And so it's been around for a very, very, very long time. Just like aloe vera has been around for a very, very long time. And there are molecules in aloe that are very good. The molecule from the hop plant, there's an alpha, beta, and gamma, three molecules that have been proven over a period since the 1960s that burn visceral fat. And when you said you want to burn that bad fat, Pastor Steve, that visceral fat is that bad fat. That's the fat that gathers in your liver, around your organs, your heart. It's that toxic, putrid fat. That's the fat that's going to kill you. That's the fat that's going to be the driver behind heart disease, diabetes. That's the fat that's going to be the driver behind cancer. And it's that fat, Pastor Steve, that absorbs the toxins. So when you're living in a toxic world with toxic chemicals and artificial additives and preservatives, it's being stored into this internal visceral fat. This product, in the 1960s, they could create this, but to extract 1 gallon of the mature hop extract that's inside this 1.2 milligram pouch, they could extract 1 gallon of it, and it costs $1 million US. So fast forward now to the last few years, a pharmaceutical company in America developed the technology, and they're the only ones with the technology, to extract the mature hop extract from the hop flower, and then to be able to condense it, to be able to concentrate it, to stabilize it, and to make it commercially viable and affordable to the general public, which is what we now have. We have something that's been around for so long, no known side effects. There's no known drug contraindications, that this is a perfectly natural product from a plant made by God with molecules that were discovered by godly men in a laboratory over a period of years. And now we have this in a snap. And I'll just demonstrate real quickly. Like,
Before
there's a
you do that,
glass of
can I
water.
ask you
Yep.
a little bit more background, okay? Because I know everyone wants to see how does it work and where to get it, but give us a little background. So, who was the discoverer, this Christian discoverer?
Well, the company is called, the company that owns the patents and the technologies now is called Marketplace Global. They're based out of Minnesota. And what happened was a guy by the name of Trey King, who owns a pharmaceutical company in Mississippi, and he has a lot of drugs that they produce through their company. He tasked his scientists with coming up with a product that could compete with Ozempic. So that's where they were going. They were looking at something to be one of the GLP-1s, because we know how big that industry is. It's billions and billions of dollars. So as they were researching, they discovered that the raw materials in hop had the ability to burn visceral fat. So then they started to then work through the science in the lab of being able to concentrate and extract these particular molecules from the hop plant in a way that would capture them and stabilize them. Once they completed those studies and they had the molecule, they realized they couldn't bring it to market as a drug, because for it to be a drug, it would need to be chemical, it would need to be synthesized, but it was natural. So fortunately, the owner of MPG, Randy and Kathy Tynett, knew Trey King, and they bought the global marketing rights to this molecule, mature hop extract, and also the extraction rights and the patents. So MPG owns those patents. So it's proprietary to us, it's patented, and you can only get it from us. And so when we got this product in July of last year, we've now seen over 50,000 people around the world take this product, and some of the results have been absolutely mind-blowing, astounding. And I might just say the results are across a number of fields. I started to take the product because I have a problem with weight, and I'm 28 kilos lighter than I once was, but I have a problem with weight. And so I took it because I wanted to have a personal impact in my life. And so when you take the mature hop extract, and I'll do it for you right now, it's the snap is even patented by the company, a glass of water, you'll notice that a clear liquid comes out. It's colorless, tasteless, odorless. I'm done. What that does, the mature hop extract will now work as an activator and will trigger the burning of visceral fat, and only visceral fat. And the way that works is it triggers or it turns on the beta receptors in the stomach, uh, all through the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is the biggest nerve in the body, part of the parasympathetic nervous system that comes from the brain down to the heart, wraps around the heart, around the lungs, and all the way through your digestive system. So once you take this product instantly triggers, or it's almost like a switchboard. It turns a switch on that will activate the vagus nerve, which then stimulates the brown fat. To make it real simple, brown fat's the good fat. Brown fat is the fat that we want in our body. The visceral fat is the nasty, horrible fat that we don't want. And we've got the white adipose tissue. That's the fat that we get around our belly that we can see. The visceral fat is the stuff we can't necessarily see in our organs that drives disease. So once you take this, that switch is turned on for up to 9.5 hours, Pastor Steve, and you are now burning visceral fat. And that
Wow.
is not a diet. That's unlike anything in the world.
That is unlike anything I've heard. So you take it twice a day, morning and
Yes.
night, yeah, and
Yes.
it
Yes.
activates the vagus nerve. I come to realize a lot of people know the vagus nerve because of their, I guess, research into Ozempic. So first of all, let me read to you what the vagus nerve is, okay, for those who are watching. It's the 10th cranial nerve. It's very large, right? It's almost like the nerve. It's the stem of the brain coming down. It is a mixed nerve that plays a crucial role in the body's parasympathetic nervous system. It connects the brain to various organs in the neck, chest, and abdomen. I mean, that's like all the stuff that you want to take care of: neck, chest, and abdomen. And parasympathetic simply means it's controlling the involuntary movements. Like a heartbeat is involuntary. You're not
So,
thinking, I need to beat my heart. It's involuntary. So this is number one. It's like the most important nerve. So it's going to be a pathway to all other organs, right? One of it would be the pancreas. There's a lot of pancreatic issues. I think people with
yep,
diabetes would have some issue with the pancreas. Is that true?
100%. And I think that when we understand the molecules, MHE3 is its full name, mature hop extract 3. And the reasons it's 3 is because of the 3 molecule extracts, alpha, beta, and gamma. And they all serve 3 separate purposes but in combination. They do this. One is it is an appetite suppressant. When you take this product, you don't crave as much the sugars. You don't crave as much food. It literally turns off the brain, triggering you to want to eat, which in essence is good because most of us generally overeat. Secondly, the other molecule is it triggers the switch in the gut to start to burn the visceral fat. So the best way to describe this, Steve, Pastor Steve, have you ever been cold and shivering?
Sure, sure.
And I'm sure that probably most people that are listening to this YouTube video have it sometimes shivered. Well, that shivering is exactly pretty much what this product does. When you shiver, your body's going into hypothermia. So the vagus nerve turns on and it starts to look for instant heat. And the best way for it to get heat is to pick the low hanging fruit. And the low hanging fruit is the visceral fat, the white
Mm,
adipose fat.
mhm.
By burning that fat, it then releases heat. And that heat is in essence, it's trying to keep your organs alive. Well, you can take this product. Well, you can do one of two things. You can sit in an ice bath for 9.5 hours and have your visceral nerve triggered, the vagus nerve triggered. I mean, you can sit in an ice bath for 9.5 hours. Good luck with that. Or you can take the product and have the product do it, and you'll get pretty much exactly the same response in the vagus nerve as you would if you were in an ice bath, which is totally mind blowing. So I'm just going to share my story. And there's so many other stories like this, countless thousands of them. But for me, um, I have always suffered with anxiety. As a pastor, I don't know why, but I pray, I read my Bible, anxiety. And also, having a mobile device, I have this sense of dread. And for those of you that have been in ministry for any length of time, when the phone rings, the first thing that happens is me, it's like, oh no, what's happening? Who's in trouble? Who's dying? Who's sick? Who's getting, having problems in their business or their marriage or with their kids? And we get the calls. And so, and that can give you trauma. And so I have had to fight the black dog of depression my whole ministry life. And by the grace of God, I've done it. And through prayer and through reading of the word and just keeping myself close to the Lord. But when I started taking this product, one of the things that the vagus nerve does is it dials back the anxiety levels. I noticed within 2 weeks, the black dog that was barking at me every day, the anxiety, that black dog, instead of being in my face, barking every day when I woke up, it was like a distant yelp. I hardly knew it was there. The sense of dread went.
Oh, praise God.
My energy levels went through the roof, Pastor Steve. I feel like the Energizer Bunny. My cognitive function. I'm sorry if I'm talking fast, but it's because my brain is operating at a level better than it used to operate at. So the vagus nerve is responsible for areas like serotonin, dialing back, the overstimulation of
Cortisol.
cortisol.
Okay.
It is what drives the anxiety. And my wife will tell you, she's like, I'm like a different person. We went through a time where there was a 5-day delay in getting the product. There was a shipping issue, and I was without it for 5 days. And I was ringing everybody I knew. Has anybody got any spare stuff? I felt like an addict, like can someone hook me up with some fix, And
Yeah.
everyone was either taking theirs or theirs was delayed. Well, I noticed myself slip back into just being the old Rod, and I noticed that darkness coming back, and I think for me anyway, and the world in which we live, we need to have the edge, and I'm sure that all of your listeners and viewers are just like me. You feel just like me. Imagine if we could get an edge on the stress of the world. Imagine if we could take control of that anxiety that the world continually feeds to us. If any of your viewers can identify with this, then you owe it to your future self to try this. And you will thank yourself down the road. I would not now go a day without taking this incredible God-given supplied product that
Yeah.
that God has led us to, and it's just changed my life.
So people are going to ask where to get it. We're going to put the link down below. I assume that people will get some kind of discount when they click on the link.
Yeah, basically, it's a very affordable product, and it's also there's a business component attached to it, and for 29.95 US, or if you are from another part of the world, if you're from Canada or South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, we're in Philippines, we're in other countries and
You're in
expanding globally.
Singapore, right? Singapore. Can you name all the countries? Because I know my audience is everywhere, and many, many people want to say, "Can I get it?" So Singapore is okay. Where else?
Singapore's nearly there. We're just a few weeks away from launching Singapore, but we're in the Philippines.
Okay.
We're in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, United Kingdom, America, and Canada. And we are planning an expansion into Europe right now, and we're planning expansion into other parts of the world. And the companies, let me just say that their passion, obviously marketplace global, is to go global. So we have a very competent corporate team. We have a very competent international directors, and our plan is to get to all of the regions that we can. But yeah, for 29.95 in the US, you can join, and in America it's 199.95, and that'll give you the equivalent of 87 of these snaps. So that's enough for two or more a day for a month's supply. But at the top, when Pastor Steve, when they click on the link that you're going to post here, they just to the top right hand corner, there's a little drop down screen with country names and flags. You just pick the country, and
Pick
then
your
it'll
country.
automatically
Okay.
populate. Yeah.
Pick your country. Okay. Go and click the link. You're going to get your own kind of like a position, and then you get a back end where you can get things at a discount, and then anyone that you refer, you get some kind of commission. Okay. So somebody asked, why does the sign up require social security number for Americans? The short answer I gave them is that because you can get paid.
That's exactly right. It's for tax purposes, and you get paid, and
Okay.
your IRS likes to know everything that
Right.
you do.
So like all the products, everybody's taking natural products that I know. Everyone who studies Bible prophecy, we're all kind of preppers, and I want to get to some scriptures about that. But you take products and you tell your friends, they don't pay you. So this is one of those things that I think is worth giving the Social Security number to. And by the way, if you don't understand how to get out of the rat race, I think for years and years I tell Christians, go read Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I just start there, because I don't want to preach. I'm not a prosperity preacher. I don't think anybody knows that. Even though I believe God wants you to have the abundant life and live more abundantly, I think you got to take care of you got to cooperate with some wisdom principles in life. It's not just if you give to this ministry, you're going to get rich. I've never preached things like that. I believe you could partner with us and you'll get the graces that are on our lives and our ministry. But in terms of being financially free and taking care of your children, grandchildren, you need to get out of just the employee mindset, and you need to take ownership of your own business. You have to have some kind of your own business. And I think Kiyosaki explains that in such a good, simple way. Another question, which you kind of answered, but can you tell us how long does it take to get results?
Okay, so results obviously do vary depending on a person's personal lifestyle choices. Obviously, everybody's makeup slightly different as well. So it's very difficult to give a hard, fast, generalization for everybody. But I would just say this, that what we recommend to people is that you need to see this not so much, even though it's called pHix, don't treat it like a quick fix. We need to be prepared to give this a minimum 6 months, because you got to understand, you don't see the visceral fat unless you go get a DEXA scan, or some of these new fancy body scanners, and you can measure the amount of lean muscle you have and fat and visceral fat. You can't see visceral fat, but we all have visceral fat to varying degrees. And so, when you're taking this product, the science is definitive that you are going to burn visceral fat. Some people will burn it faster than others. God knew what he was doing when he made us. Science has spent thousands of years trying to figure out God's masterpiece, and we know this much. But what we do know is that the body has a way, and God has designed it to prioritize what it needs to do first. And then it'll do that. Then it'll do what it needs to do second. Then it'll do what it needs to do third. Then it'll do what it needs to do fourth. So, if we're looking at the type of results we want from this product, you may not see results on the scale in the first week or two or month. Because, see, we're preconditioned to go, I jump on the scales and the scales tell me whether I'm losing weight. And they can. But you've got to realize that visceral fat isn't very dense. It doesn't weigh a lot. Muscle mass weighs a lot. One of the things this product does, and people have seen this happen, that they've added lean muscle mass. So you could be adding lean muscle, which weighs, it's way denser than fat. You could be adding lean muscle, which is 3-4 times more weighty than fat. So the scales are a lie. They're going to tell you that what's not true. What the science is that you're going to be burning the visceral fat, and the best way is to measure your chest, measure your stomach, measure where you're carrying a bit of fat, and let the tape measure tell the story rather than the scale. In my case, I lost 56 centimeters. It was, it's like 20 inches, nearly of fat over to different parts of my body, but the scale only moved by 5 kilos, 10 pounds,
Yeah.
over a 3-month period. But I could have probably lost more weight by fasting for a month, but then I would have burnt a lot of muscle mass, therefore depleting my overall body health. And we don't want to do that. But I'm burning that ugly visceral fat, and I had a very high visceral fat count checked by a DEXA scan, and I have reduced my visceral fat by about 40% in the 7-8 months that I've been taking this product. So I've still got a way to go, because I had a lot to move. Some people think, oh, I'm skinny, I don't have any weight to lose. None that you can see, but I can almost guarantee you've probably got visceral fat that is inside around your organs that you can't see. And the proof is, we see skinny people drop dead of heart attacks all the time. We see skinny people with diabetes all the time. So, we look at the outside and think that's a reflection of what's happening inside. Not necessarily. So I think everybody owes it to themselves to be on this for a minimum 6 months, and to give their body a very, very good chance at fighting the toxins that are being built up inside their body, and burn that horrible, visible, ugly, toxic fat that's inside of them. And then you'll reap the health benefits of all of the other things in your body: the better sleep, the better concentration. You'll see changes in blood sugar levels. You'll see changes in blood pressure. You'll see changes in your mood. All of these other things shift as we move these toxins out of our system.
Well, I heard one of our mutual friends says that somebody reported that their gray hair reversed. Somebody
Yes.
had some kind of skin disease, maybe it was skin cancer, and they said that reversed. I mean, that's amazing. That's all from the vagus nerve being activated.
And that's the great mystery, Pastor Steve, because the vagus nerve is responsible for so many things that we can never truly count out anything from happening. Anything is possible when we allow God's creation, and when we activate the processes that God has already put within our bodies. And I like to see, as I said before, like a switch. I like to think of it like a switchboard. And there are certain things in our body we want to switch off. There are things that anxiety, depression, diabetes, we want to switch those off. And there are certain things we want to switch on. We want to switch on serotonin production. We want to, you know, uh, endorphins. We want to switch on, the pancreas's ability to produce insulin. uh, we want to switch on the stomach's ability to break down proteins and lipids and carbohydrates. So we want to, our body's like a massive switchboard, and we want some things. And sadly, the world in which we live and the toxins that we're exposed to and the environment that we're in, a lot of things that we didn't want switched on have been switched on for us. But when we go back to nature and we go back to what God intended, then this can then work as it's designed to do by God, and it can switch off the things that need to be switched off and switch on the things that should be switched on. And then we see completely crazy things happening in people's lives that go beyond explanation, but yet nevertheless we see thousands of them. And I don't know whether that will happen for you. I don't know how fast that will happen for you. There's only one way for you to find out, and that is for you to try it and measure for yourself. But for me, there's a whole plethora of things that it's done for me, which I'm very, very pleased about.
Yeah, that's really amazing. As for those who think that it sounds too good to be true, I want to explain something that I discovered as I learned about natural health. We have such a sickness mentality through pharmaceutical propaganda and ads that people think I have to ingest one drug in order to deal with one condition or one organ. Whereas when you do it God's natural way and you take something that's going to improve your well-being, it has like a cascading effect that's very hard to explain. And sometimes you just like, oh, I took it to see results that somewhere I can see, but somewhere deeper there was a hidden issue, and the body starts going towards working with that. And I learned that when we were helping people with their autoimmune diseases, we just learned, okay, there are things that you see, and then there are things that only the cells can see at a cellular level. And the body is fearfully and wonderfully made. And the body knows if you just supply the body what it needs, the body is actually the doctor. Your body is the hospital, the best hospital,
Yes.
the best doctor, the best pharmacy. But we forget that somehow, and people go to all sorts of toxic chemicals with side effects. And again, we're not doctors, so you do what your doctors say. We always have to give that kind of disclaimer. I love this. I love the science. So I want to get back to the science in a bit, because I'm like you. I love the science. But for those who have been praying for some kind of breakthrough in their own lives, in their finances, give us. I'm going to put you on the spot, but give us an idea here. You're up to what, 7 months of doing this?
I started
Eight,
in September, so what's that? Yeah, 8 months.
8 months, okay. And you've already reached six-figure income.
Yes. Yeah. I started out fairly cautiously because it took a few weeks for my product to arrive, and but I told a few people, and they told a few people who told a few people. And so yeah, within my first, I think it was my second month, yeah, I achieved a five-figure monthly income, and it's been constantly that ever since, and scaling up. I think what have to understand is that, in that first company that I mentioned, that we both talked about earlier, that when that opportunity came along, for me in 1998, it was a God opportunity, and I was an early adopter, and I did very well, and actually still do very well in that other company, because I do love that product that you're just referring to there, Pastor Steve. And so when this opportunity came through prayer, again, uh, we're very early on in the global expansion of this product. And anybody that's watching today, you are an early adopter, and it's always the early adopters that do best. And
Right.
and the things that
It's the
yeah,
first mover advantage, right? You get
it
rewarded
always
for
is.
being a first mover. Yeah. And right now,
It
there's
is.
only like 50,000 people in the whole world that know about this or use it.
The world literally is, our oyster in this instant. And so, the early adopters always do best. But here's the thing, it's not just being an early adopter. You've got to have a company that has good product. You've got to make sure the product is disruptive. And I love that word disruptive, because I in the world in which we live as Christians, we are incredibly disruptive. We bring light to darkness. We bring truth to deception. So,
Amen.
we are the disruptors, and we get persecuted for that.
The establishment hates
Absolutely.
it. So you'll get all sorts of pushback, and you have to be willing to try something and not have everybody else around you clapping for you and being on board. Just as long as you prayed about it and you feel it's you have peace, right?
Yep.
Then you need to take the step of faith and do something about your health and about your finances. And sometimes they both come at the same time, the opportunity. Well, whatever is happening in your life, don't forget Jesus loves you, and keep looking up.
Hi, this is Jenny, and I'm just here to testify that I've been on the pHix product for 2 weeks now, and I actually felt a little ordinary for a whole 10 days, and but I wasn't really surprised about that. I have a huge amount of weight to lose, and so I have jumped on the scales this morning to discover I've lost 6 kilos in that first 2 weeks. So I am a testament to the fact that this product is amazing, that it is an answer to my prayer, and I've lost 6 kilos in a fortnight. This is a transformation of my body happening from the inside out. So I am so thrilled that to share that I love this product. Give it a try.